I greet you with Jesus' joy, for it is in him that I live, breathe, move, and have my very being. I am so glad that you tapped in today, and I am going to be sharing a little journey of evolution with you. And it's really the evolution of my writing. I dug up this booklet that is a 60-page handout that I used to deliver to people, and it was called Reach Me with Smiles, a handbook for developing Sunday school. Sunday school development handbook, because I used to do workshops for a convention and used to travel all over the state and all over the country doing workshops for people. And they said, you're giving us all this information. You should write a book. That was the year 2000 that particular one was done. And I was passing these out, just giving them away as my handout. And then I finally decided 2005 to actually take them up on it. And there was a publisher that put this out for me. This is the cover of the original, well, not the original, but the first Reach Me with Smiles book. You see that it's my favorite color, purple, and it's Reach Me with Smiles, a handbook for developing disciple makers, a little bit beyond just talking about Sunday school. And I delve into all kinds of things regarding the smiles concept. Smiles, Smiles. I'll tell you more about that as I go to the next stage of the evolution. In evolution, we have now 2014, same book, but revised a little bit. There's a sailboat on the cover, which I took a picture of Tangier Island when I was on a little cruise in the tiny town of Tappahannock from here to the Eastern Shore. And I took that picture and I thought about sailing when I wrote the revision. Smiles, stimulate me, motivate me, involve me, lead me by loving me, encourage me, and strengthen me. So if you do all of these things, you will indeed reach your students, regardless of whether it's public school, private school, Sunday school, whether it's your children that you work with in your community, in your home, reaching people with smiles, acronym, stimulate, motivate, involve, lead, love, encourage, and strengthen me. And you will reach me for the Lord. You will show me by example how it is that I should live my life. And in here, I talk a little bit about triads, which I'm a big fan of because I know that I love to learn best in small groups rather than in crowds. And so I like to refer to Jesus with his Peter, James, and John triad, small groups. And then as I got toward the end of this particular book, there's a section that talked about intimacy with God and growing relationship with him. And actually, I had started my doctoral program for ministry, and I was trying to get my doctoral dissertation written, and I just couldn't get it going. I realized at some point that I needed to just put it down because my advisor advised me to do that. And as I was fumbling around with ideas, trying to use my time wisely, I went back to this concept and I realized that the end of this concept was actually the beginning of the next book, Beyond Discipleship to Relationship, which is what my doctoral thesis was all about, how to grow the church from the inside out. And so part one of my trilogy is Reach Me with Smiles. Part two of my trilogy on discipleship is Beyond Discipleship to Relationship, developing intimacy with the Lord. And in order to develop intimacy with the Lord, you have to, of course, be a disciple. But here I talk more about the triads, how they work in the church, and how one person can disciple another person, and then the second person becomes a disciple and a disciple maker themselves. Now you have a triad of people. I brought you to Christ, or I encouraged you and was like your bodybuilder, and you replicate that with someone else. And then they replicate that with someone else. And you do this in small groups throughout your congregation. And the Lord has helped me to learn how to do these kinds of things, even in workshops and in sessions where there may be hundreds of people before me at the same time, and you can still do that. So Beyond Discipleship to Relationship is a marvelous guide, a wonderful handbook that you can use to strengthen your relationship with the Lord, to get more intimate with the Lord in your own walk with Him. And my third book that I'm so proud of, I'm proud of all of them, but my third book in the trilogy of discipleship resources is Blooming for Christ. And again, on the cover, let me backtrack just a little bit. Got so excited. The picture on here is a cover of this mountaintop. And I actually took that picture when I was overseas in Turkey, went on a missionary journey tour, retracing the steps of Paul. And at the top of a monastery, I looked out literally into the clouds and took this picture and understood later that I could use this as a concept of really going high and soaring above and reaching beyond who I am as a disciple and developing more intimate relationships like those people in the monastery were trying to do. But I want to be in relationship with other people as well, right down here in the valley where the work is being done. Blooming for Christ, developing, growing, growing. These other two are developmental. This is developmental in a different way. You're growing your intimacy. You've gotten to know the Lord. You want to know Him even closer. And so this is like developing more intimate intimacy. So growing godly intimacy means that you're where you think you ought to be, but then you want to use these triads that I talk about. And here's an image of the triad where you can see it's cyclical. And basically, there is an analogy where the phases or stages of growth of the plant are compared to the stages of growth of a Christian. And when you reach maturity, you spew your seeds out. And so this goes from the very beginning of planting to the harvesting. And there are lots of things in here that are personal in regard to my walk with growing Christians and helping others to grow. This final book that I have to talk about, I have to point to it. Which way is it? It's right here. Beyond Adversity. I have been asked to write a chapter in a book that I don't even have in my hands yet. It's so new and hot off the press that it's actually still in production. And so God bless if you were to go online and order these materials from me using my website, Barbara. I changed the website. I'm sorry about that. The favoredbythefather.com. Go on my website, favoredbythefather.com, and you'll be able to order these materials. Go to amazon.com. You'll be able to order these materials and reach out to me, favoredbree@gmail.com, and you will be able to get more information about how to secure any of these discipleship, disciple making, growing intimately with God, and just getting a closer walk with Him. And know that you can't do that in isolation. You have to remain in relationship with other people. And so I'm so excited about sharing these materials with you. There's another book that is in my bosom that I will be sharing at some other time because I haven't even written it yet. And I'm so excited to be able to tell you that there's a fifth one on the way. 2025 is coming. 2024 is here. And I'm just going to be on the book tour circuit trying to get these books in your hands. So don't hesitate to give me a call. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. favoredbree@gmail.com. favored, FAVOREDDBREH @gmail.com. Grow in grace, God's special favor, and remain favored by the Father.